Hey there, John Shorby here from ReallyEasyGuitarLessons.com, and in this video lesson, I'm going to teach you how to play Jingle Bell Rock by Bobby Holmes. This is probably one of my favorite Christmas songs because it's got guitar in it. It's got some cool lead guitar stuff happening. So I'm going to walk you through both the lead guitar parts in the song as well as some rhythm part that you can play on an acoustic guitar. So I'm going to jump in and start at the beginning and just work my way through the song. I'm gonna start with the lead guitar parts first, and then we'll switch to the rhythm. All right, let's start with that intro lead lick. I'm gonna do it at full speed first, and then I'll do it at 70%. All right, here it is at 70%. All right, let's break that down. So we are playing on the B and the E string, and I'm gonna start by sliding in 15 of the B with my middle finger and 14 of the E with my first finger. So slide into those notes and then play them 3 times. So slide in and then 2 extra hits. La, da, da. On that last one, add a little bit of vibrato. And then use just your first finger to slide into 14 of both the B and the E string. So we have da da da, dun dun da, and then slide back into the first shape where you're on 15 and 14. Slide in, hold the shape, and then either with your ring finger or your pinky finger, add it to the 17th fret of the E string. And then this is the trickiest part. We're gonna come back to the 10th fret of the B and E string with our first finger, play both of those strings. So jumping from there to there is pretty tricky. And then add your ring finger to 12 of the B and the E, back to 10. Sorry, stay on 12, and then you're gonna do a little bend, and then bring it back down, pick it, now go back to 10, back to 12, and then finish it with this little major fragment where you're barring 10 of the B and the E and adding 11 of the G with vibrato. All right, then in the verses, we have these little lead parts that just kind of stab, jump out. And it's based off of just a couple of different shapes. So the first one, 12 of the D, 11 of the G, 12 of the B. So using my middle, my index on the G, and my ring on the B. It's like a dominant 13 shape, which of course you knew that. Right. Most people have no idea what that is. That's okay, as long as you know how to play it. So you play those 3 strings, and you slide off of it like that. And the other one we do is we're gonna bar 14 of the G and the B. All right, slide into it, and then add your pinky to the high E string. And then on the last one, we do the same thing, but then we play 15 of the B along with 17 of the E as we come down. So let me just put the verse on and I'll play with it and I'll add those little things in.
Jingle bell, jingle bell, jingle bell rock. Jingle bells swing and jingle bells ring. Snowing and blowing up bushels of fun. Now the jingle hop has...
So really it's catching when it is, right? So the first one on the D, G, and B string, that is happening on the and of, I'm sorry, yeah, it's happening on the and of 3. On the and of 3 is when that happens, right? Check it out. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, right? 1 and 2, 3 and 4. 1, 2 and 3 and 4. Same thing with this one here. It happens on the and of 3. Same thing there, and of 3. So they're all on the and of 3. So count along with that. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And 1 and 2, 3 and 4. And so that happens in every verse just like that. All right, and then for our bridge, the lead guitar is just hanging back for 8 measures, 9 measures really. And then we come back in with that chord stab slidey thing. Okay, again on the end of 3. And then he does these triplet build-up things. The first one sounds like this. All right, so what's happening there? 4th fret of the G and the B. We're playing triplets. Triplet, slide up to the next one, which is now 7 of the B, 8 of the G. Triplet, 3 times there. Hold that shape to 10 and 11. Triplet, and then end it on 8 and 9 of the G and the B. And then the last thing that happens at the end of the bridge is a slide into the chord that we stab at, what I said was like a dominant 13. All right, we're sliding into that chord. It happens on the and of 4 and carries over into the 1. Da-da. And then to go back into the verse, we do that's 12 of the G and B to 10 and 11 of the G and the B. Same shape to 8 and 9, and then to 7. All right, I'm going to play through that end part of the bridge so you can hear and see it. Do it at a slower speed. All right, and the third verse has the same ideas, right? You're doing the chord stab there on the end of 3, and then you have your other parts here. And then we have another one of those triplet build-ups, but this time it's on different shapes. So this is 10 and 11. And then just add your pinky to 13. Get that little dissonant sound. So you do triplet, 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 and then finish it with 12 of the G and the B. Sounds like this. All right, this is the second bridge also, which is kind of like the outro. Again, you have another one of those chord stabs coming off of it with a triplet build-up thing. Again, different shapes this time. This time it's 7, 8 of the G and B. B and G rather. Then 10 and 11. Then 12 and 14. And then we resolve it back to 12 of the G and the B. And then you're hanging there. It's kind of hard to hear, but he's just kind of hitting that little double stop chord again. And then we start sliding back into that dominant 13 chord that I talked about. We do that 1, 2, 3 times before we get to the outro. I'll play along with it. And then we have our ending, which is somewhat like our intro. I'll play along with it.
That's the Jingle Bell Rock. That's the Jingle Bell Rock.
Okay, so all that's happening there. Same idea as the intro, same chords, right? Same as the intro, but then we're gonna do a triplet. Triplet followed by 2 8th notes. So it's da 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 da. Then change your chord shape. Play that, 3 times. Then you add your middle to 15 of the B, 17 of the E. And then finish it with, go to 12 of the B and the E. You do a little bend with your ring finger on the B and the E. Then you play 10, 12, 10. And then finish it with your D-shaped chord, which is the D string of 12, 11 of the G, barring 10 of the B, adding vibrato. All right, let's turn our attention now to the rhythm guitar parts in the song. I'm going to go over the chords first. So first thing you got to know is all the chords that we got to play. So D major, open D, 2nd fret G, 3rd fret B, 2nd fret E. D major 7, which is simply just barring the 2nd fret of the G, B, and E and playing the open D string. And then we have D6, which is open D string, 2nd fret G, open B, and 2nd fret E. So D, D major 7, D6, and then you also have to do a D7, which is open D, 2nd fret G, 1st fret B, 2nd fret E. So what makes that cool is that when you're doing those 3 chords, you have this chromatic movement of the 3rd fret, 2nd fret, 1st fret, open B string. You don't do them in that order, but you got some cool chords there. So D major 7, D6, and D7, okay? Also E minor, open E string, 2nd fret of the A and the D, open G, open B, open E, A7, open A, 2nd fret D, open G, 2nd fret B, open E, high E. Okay. And then we're also going to have a G that we're going to play as a bar chord. So I'm barring the 3rd fret of the E string, 5th fret of the A and D, and then my middle is on 4 of the G. So that's going to be a G major. Okay, and then to play G minor, I'm going to lift my middle finger. So we got to do G major and G minor, all as bar chords. Then we're going to have to do an E7, which open E, 2nd fret A, open D, 1st fret G, and then I'm going to add my pinky to the 3rd fret of the B. All 6 strings. There's an E7. And then we got a regular A, which you can either do as a bar or cramming all your fingers into the 2nd fret. Either way, it doesn't matter. And then we also have a B7, 2nd fret A string, 1st fret D, 2nd fret G. You can either play it like that, or you could also add your pinky to the high E string. Make sure the B string's open. If you don't add your pinky, watch how many strings you strum, because you don't want to hit the E strings. If your pinky's down, then you can play the high E string. If it's not, then you can't. All right, to recap all the chords: D, D major 7, D6, D7, E minor, A7, G as a bar chord, G minor as a bar chord, E7, A, and B7. So yeah, you got to know all those chords first before you start jumping in trying to do anything. All right, now let's organize those into chord progressions. So we have a verse progression, which is going to go D to D major 7 to D6 to D major 7. All right, and those changes are happening every other beat. So the D happens on beat 1, the D major 7 happens on beat 3, the D6 happens on the next beat 1, and the D major 7 happens on beat 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we go back to D on beat 1, and we go to D7 on beat 3. Sorry. And then we go to E minor and A7, and those are again beat 1, beat 3, and it's going to repeat 3 times. So here's what we have so far. We have D, D major 7, D6, D major 7, D, D7, E minor, A7, do that again, E minor, A7, do it one more time, E minor, A7, and then now E minor, A7, but now they last 1, 2, 3, 4, a whole measure. So if I count it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to do what I call chord placing, which is playing just what I just did, putting the chords where they belong in the timeline. I'm going to do it along into the song at 70% speed. So for the first verse, you do exactly what I just showed you. But for verses 2 and 3, there's one little change. Instead of doing an A7 at the end, you change the A7 to a D7. So everything else is the same except the last chord. I'll go ahead and play along with the second verse, doing the placing to show you that the last chord is different. Okay, for strumming for the rhythm guitar, I'm going to give you 3 options. 1, you could do straight quarter notes, just down strums, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, like this. Kind of bland, kind of vanilla, but if you're on the new side of things, it will work out just fine. So another rhythm you could do would be 1 and 2, 3 and 4, which would be down, up, down, down, up, down. 1 and 2, 3 and 4. 1 and 2, 3 and 4. Okay? So again, just pay attention to when those chords change. 1 and 2, 3 and 4. 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 2, 3 and 4. 1 and 2, 3 and 4. 1 and 2, 3 and 4. Okay? So that's another one you could use. And notice how when I'm doing that too, on the last chord, right, the last downstroke, da da da, I'm killing the sound. I'm not letting it ring. You could let it ring. I just think it will sound better if you can mute the sound right after you play it. And you achieve that by just taking the pressure out of the strings with your fretting hand, And then with your right hand, your picking hand, you just use the karate chop to just kill any vibration, like that. Okay? And then the last rhythm you could do would be 1 and 3 and 1 and 3 and. So you're skipping the 2 and you're skipping the 4. 1 and 3 and 1 and 3 and 1 and 3 and. Okay, so down, up, and then you get a whiff on a downstroke, then up, down, up, again, whiff on a downstroke, up, down, up. So it ends up kind of being a pattern of up, down, up as you get going, but when you start it, you're starting it on a down. Play along with the chords. And notice too what I'm doing, that down strum, I'm not just whiffing on it, I'm giving it a little percussive hit, right? I'm doing it, again, taking the pressure out of the strings, and then when I hit that down strum, you get a little clicky sound as opposed to not hitting anything. All right, I'm gonna run through the first verse. I'll do it 3 times. First time with straight quarter notes, second time with the second strumming pattern, and the third time with the third strumming pattern. One thing I forgot to mention is on these strumming patterns, especially on the E minor and the A7, I'm not really hitting the lower strings on it, simply because the way the progression is, there's so much high strings involved that when you switch to the E minor and the A7, if you catch the lower strings of the chord, it can be kind of abrupt and jarring, right? So just if you stick to the higher strings of these shapes, I think it's going to sound a little bit better. All right, here's the third pattern. Okay, the bridge chord progression, we're going to do G for a measure, G minor for a measure, and then D for 2 measures. Then we're going to do G, which you could do it as a bar chord or an open G, it's fine. And then E7 for a measure, and then A, which we stop on and let it go for 2 measures. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the second part of the bridge is back to your motif of D, D major 7, D6, D major 7. Then we do D and D7. But this time now we switch to B7 for a measure. And then back to the G, G minor, E7 for 2 beats, A7 for 2 beats, D for 4 beats. So that last part would be 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll go ahead, I'll do the placing along with the bridge.
riding in the one-horse sleigh.
With the bridge, you could do any of the 3 strumming patterns that we did in the verse. Same kind of, vibe applies. I'll go through the bridge progression, doing the 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 1 and 2, 3 and 4 pattern. Holds on the A. And with the second bridge, there's just one small variation, just like with the verses at the end, right? So at the end of the bridge, we do G, G minor, E7, A7. Well, the second time at the end of the song, you're just going to repeat that. E7, A7, E7, A7, E7, A7. You do it 3 times, and then you hang on the D chord for 2 measures for the end. So I'm just going to play the last part of the song so you can hear what that sounds like. All right, then the structure of the song is pretty simple. You just got your intro, first verse, second verse, first bridge, third verse, second bridge, and that's it. So practice tips for the song on the rhythm guitar side. First, make sure that you know your chords. I know some of these chords, like a D6, you may not see that, very frequently. G minor, if you're new to bar chords, that could be a tricky chord to get your hand around. So focus on any of the chords that you don't know. Make sure that you know how to play them before you start jumping in and trying to strum and play along to the song. Also, if there's any chord changes that give you problems, like going from a G bar chord to the G minor to the E7 or to a D, isolate any chord change that gives you a problem and focus on that chord change specifically when you practice. On the lead guitar side of stuff, you want to make sure that you're working in very small chunks. Take a very small section of the song, loop it, slow it down, get it in your ear, learn the mechanics, and then try to play along to the song. It's very important when you're learning lead guitar stuff that you play along to the recording, because that is how you're going to develop your timing and your phrasing. All right, that's it for this video lesson. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.